Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Ohm Service Live with Mr. Bloomberg Putty. Putty? Got that wrong.
Putty.
Bloomberg Putty.
He's playing up in his putty time.
Mr. Bloomberg's Putty. No, I'm not going to say it. I'll try again. Third time lucky. Mr. Bloomberg's Puppet. Who is Betty? And P.H.E fanboy. That's me. Hello. I fucked all that up, didn't I?
Again, stop the stream and start again.
Yeah, shall we stop stream? We'll do it again. Hang on a second. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Ohm Service Live with me, Marky Mark. We've got BFG and we've got Betty. If that saves a lot, I'm messing up.
And if you're watching this on the replay, please just stick with us because that was just a balls up. But it only gets worse from here on in.
Speak for yourself. Mine are firmly down.
Look how it's changed it.
Change what?
Bloomberg Putty.
Putty time.
It's going to be one of them shows, isn't it?
Yeah. Starts off straight and narrow and then goes.
You right then, guys? Good evening, chat. Hello, everybody on the replay. Hope you're all well.
We're broken.
You broke me already, yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right. How do we follow on from that?
Just wave to everybody and just smile and go, hello.
I'll tell you what. Let's go into the participant list.
The lunatics have taken over the asylum. Hello.
Good evening, Andy Summers. Bill Richards. Hello. Craig Campbell. Good evening. Dawn W.
Yeah.
Oh, Huggles.
Dion78. Good evening. The ever gorgeous Mama Vapes.
Mama Vapes. Huggles.
Elizabeth Jones.
Huggles.
Ian, good evening, sir. Loved the picture on Facebook, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
What a gorgeous looking cat.
God, you said cat.
I said cat. Late Night Vape Show. Good evening, Mick. How you doing?
Fist bump.
Do you have a lovely vapor bunny?
Huggles. He
get that
smacked his mic there just for you, Bunny.
I did.
It makes a change for spanking the monkey, I suppose, but hey ho.
Hey, you leave slapping my mic alone. What I do on my own is my business. Right. Vaping pasty. Mine's the mic. Huggles. Mobro.
Helicopter.
Then we have Vapor Queen Becky.
Hello, Becky. Good evening. Huggles.
And the lovely Vibe King Vapor. Evening, John. How you
Fist
doing?
bump.
And let's see, Big Mooney. Good evening.
Big
Stuck in
Mooney.
the back door. And the God of the Gutter, the Lord of Lewdness, the Saint of Sin is in.
Yeah, where was he last week?
He's probably got stuck in somebody.
Yeah. There's no need. There's just no need. Over watershed and everything. I haven't even sworn yet, and you're going there already. No, I'm not having that.
I didn't go there. He did.
Michael,
Never mind.
Sick note.
Don't forget Ryder.
I won't forget Ryder. No.
Free Rider Vapor.
Gareth, bless him. I did say hello in chat.
Taz, fist bump.
Babes.
Graham, good evening, sir. Net Reality is with us.
Net Reality, fist bump.
And Taz Vapes, good evening. I think, hopefully, that is everybody. If you
Sinner, you
said your
turning
name,
40.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. Fucking lying. Why you lying for?
40? Is that obviously minus VAT?
Fucking hard paper round, I think.
Leave the boy alone, bless him.
No, fun.
Daytime Frank, good evening, dude.
Fist bump, matey.
Right, I think
You think?
we're caught up. If I haven't mentioned you, it's because the participant list picks up the most recent people who've chatted. So I know that
Black Country
Kira's
Vapor,
in.
you can definitely have a huggle. So can Jasper.
Yes. Kira's in as well, as is Vapor Queen Becky.
Tomac sneaked in there.
Wayne Sterling. Oh, it's Tomac snuck in.
Yeah,
Evening,
Tomac. Tomac, fist bump.
Who else? Graham's in. We mentioned Graham. I think that's everybody. I was just astounded by the sort of breadth of Sinner's last comment. I say.
Crap.
Right, well, you saw the video. You've seen the blurb for the show. This is going to be a big one.
Well, before we do the big one, I want to give our Aiden a big shout out. Our Aiden,
Indeed.
Bro Vapes, and Paul McCartney. They're doing 1,000 steps a day for the whole of March in for prostate cancer UK. They're doing it, so I've put in the link. Nightbot will bring it up. If you could help out, guys, that would be absolutely brilliant. If you can't, I know times are hard and everything, but if you can just share the link around, that would be absolutely fantastic. He's doing a vlog every single day, and to be honest with you, they've been quite funny. He's doing this Rocky theme thing, and he's been really good. I've right enjoyed it. So yeah, he's doing 1,000 steps.
11,000.
He's doing
Sorry, 11,000.
11,000 steps a day. And if anybody's seen the picture that he's posted up today of his feet, oh, wow.
It's rather red.
Yeah, it looks sore.
Tender.
Tender, did you say?
Tender. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I thought you said Tinder.
That's what I thought he said.
What, swipe left? No. Not for them.
Could have been Grinder. Right, anywho. Yeah, that's a good lead in, isn't it?
Anywho.
Carry on, Stephen.
Carry on.
I can't now.
Carry on, mother.
I've got visions of people swiping left. Well, it started so well. The P.H.E report. It was positive. It was happy. It was pro-vape. And then the press got involved. And we went from a positive image of vaping to the polar opposite.
Shit show.
Good News wasn't going to sell papers. They went straight in for the WHO story. With the W.H.O. allegedly, according to the Daily Mirror, wanting to ban anything but closed pod systems. In effect, in a mere nutshell, and I knew this was going to happen. As soon as we start, my beloved computer has decided to go slow. There we are, fabulous. So they put it under their headline of vaping could be under threat in Britain after the World Health Organization recommends a ban under new plans and reports say. Open vaping, which allows people to control their device and its ingredients, could be outlawed if the group's advice is adopted. It's said. Right, there is the important phrase. It's said.
Fletcher boy.
By who? Not WHO, but by who? Where has this come from?
Because according to the IBT, they haven't said it.
Now, that was back on the 1st of March. So we're on to the 1st of March. So all the hoo-ha blew up on the 28th. And Twitter was alive.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. And I must admit, a few choice words were heard around Hodson Hovel, as well as the SoulOhm Towers. And as for the Porter Palace, well, I'm sure it was positively blue.
Purple.
Purple. I say.
Porter's purple palette. No, that just doesn't sound right. I don't want a purple palace. That just sounds wrong.
Porter's Palace sounded fabulous.
No.
Porter's Purple Palace.
Yeah, this doesn't sound right, does it? Oh, Benny and shit.
Sounds like a very special place.
Yeah, sounds weird.
Full of gentlemen.
Oh. Stop it.
So we moved on to the first, and as Mark said, the IBVTA responded. Boy, did they respond. So the second paragraph, I think, of their response says it nicely. What's puzzling about this story is that we are not aware that such a report exists. For the sake of clarity, the IBVTA is clear in its belief that neither the WHO nor any UK government agency is suggesting vaping should be banned in any form in the UK. And they go on to say, the IBVTA can only express disappointment that the UK media failed to notice this remarkably good news story, yet some were in favour of creating an alarming but totally misleading narrative over this past weekend. Those are strong words.
But I mean, let's jog a little bit back. If you actually look into the P.H.E review, they were stating that about this negative press. And there was quite a few people quoting, yeah, well, it's all coming from America. It's all coming from America. And this just absolutely proves that it's the British press as well that has got a knife in for people that vape.
Well, to be honest, they're just wanting to shift copy, aren't they? Good news doesn't sell, bad news does. And let's cause some outrage. So that was on the first. And it was...
Mr. Anderson is making dumplings.
Good man. So we moved on, and E-Sig Click came out with a cracking article that Vix mentioned on his Hump Day update. That came out actually on the 28th, so it was just before the IBVTA. And Neil Hump H quite correctly says, I'll say it now, there will be no UK vape ban despite what the tabloids were splashing this sunny Sunday morning. If there ever is, and I haven't shuffled off this mortal coil before it's implemented, I shall dance naked, waving a W.H.O flag outside the Houses of Parliament whilst puffing away on a jewel. That's how confident I am. We'll remind you of this, Neil, when it gets closer to the time.
Yeah, Neil did a really good job with that.
He did a cracking job. And he does raise one very, very important point before anybody starts panicking and going out and buying loads of stuff. The World Health Organization does not set any country's laws.
No.
No matter how almighty or relevant in today's world it might think it is. Now, the other thing to remember about the WHO is, where does the money come from? And that, I think, we'll talk about later on.
Let's think about that one, shall we?
It's most interesting.
You need to grow a beard, Steve. Join us.
Yeah, and then turn your head upside down.
I've got a far more fun way. But, right, moving on.
Thing is, though, when you do that, it looks like you've got a big nose.
I have. So Neil published that on the 28th. And then on March the 3rd, Wednesday, the day of the Hump Day update, Neil popped in another cracking review, cracking article. This time, though, with a little bit more input from the NNA, who, to be frank, rocked the boat a little. So there we were in this nice cozy feeling that the WHO were never going to pull this off. And then a new set of information came from the NNA saying that the WHO's plan is no empty threat. It warns that complacency from vapors and vaping industry could lead to the government doing a turn and following the WHO's proposal. I think the truth may well be somewhere in between. It would be a hell of a U-turn to back down, especially after that last report from the P.H.E. Now, the wealth of credible independent data, and this is from the IBVTA again, has given the government the confidence to take a more positive position towards vaping and the regulation of vaping. It's a thriving and responsible vape industry serving these consumers, and smoking rates are at a record low level. Now, UK VIA, while the WHO is scheduled to hold a crucial summit on vaping in November 2021, known as COP9, it continues to find itself at odds with health and industry advocates. Certain WHO positions are now so out of date and so thoroughly refuted by experts, they may as well be saying the earth is flat. Again, strong words. And Martin Cullup, chair of the NNA, says it's not fake news. The recent new national news stories reporting on the threat of the WHO recommending a ban on open systems came from a report by the Director General of the WHO that was published on the 23rd of December 2020. Now, Clive Bates commented on that. That can be found on Twitter, and he thoroughly ripped it apart.
See, that all started with the THC bit, wasn't it, really? And that's why the WHO suggested it, should we say. And to be devil's advocate, when all that was going off, you can understand from a non-vaping point of view why they would say that. Especially when the height of the deaths and the injuries that was going off in America at the time. As a person that's not into vaping or anything like that, you can understand, well, to make them stop being able to put stuff in it, have a closed pod system. I can understand as a vapor, I can understand their point of view of it. I'm not saying that they're right, but I can understand it.
But then I would sort of, in my argument back, would point out the fact that a lot of Diavali was based on fake science.
Yeah.
It was based on bias, and it was based on a lot of Bloomberg dollars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dollars.
Well, we already know the counterpart to that. But what I was saying, meaning was, I can appreciate and understand why they went that way.
Yeah. No, I can. The problem is, and we've mentioned his name numerable times, where the WHO is concerned, the Bloomberg dollar speaks.
Yeah, and China.
And China, yeah.
I think there's another country that was possibly mentioned. The Philippines. Certain dollars were used to sway certain things in the Philippines too.
Oh, God, yeah, terribly.
Which is now being called for some serious investigation. It will be interesting to see where Bloomberg Philanthropies ends up, whether it ends up in the dock or whether it ends up just getting away with it.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, Scott. It is worrying that Bloomberg actually paid for the tobacco report in 2019 for the WHO, didn't he?
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that we've seen suggested is based off the back of that report. Yeah. So, not only is he pumping millions into anti-vape groups, he's pumping millions into the WHO, the non-government agencies. We came across a very interesting economic paper which showed the money breakdown for the WHO.
Yeah, that was really good.
And interestingly, you've got these, I believe, the the actual sort of orbs within this diagram were drawn to scale. So there's WHO was a huge sphere, yeah. Strangely enough, Bloomberg and Bloomberg Philanthropies and the NGOs that they control, NGO being a non-government object, so it's like think tanks and things like that. They were almost 3/4 of the size of the WHO in that, which was a terrifying thought if that was drawn as we believed it was, because I mean the scale, the key wasn't that explicit. But you've only got to look at the University of Bath. What? And there you go. When an individual can project his own agenda onto an academic, body like the University of Bath, and have them producing some of the worst science, and this is not us saying it, this is their peers saying it. It was some of the worst scientific research that's been seen in many years. Academics take their research very seriously, and they also take it very seriously when they publicly, have a go at somebody. So for the amount of experts that did it against that report from the University of Bath was unreal.
Oh, I mean, that is the beauty about where we live. You have peers and you have proofreading as well, which I think is absolutely fantastic in this country.
Well, a certain lady that's in chat tonight, she's a research geek. And I know she'd be horrified if anybody ever turned around and said your research methods were unethical or...
You see, we're all saying about the WHO has no real claim over the UK. But when you've got Bloomberg investing in places like Ash, it's getting in through the back door, isn't it? Also, obviously, with the media as well. And let's face it, Joe Public, we know time and time again that Joe Public will just read the headlines and just see bad, bad, bad. So it's no wonder, like the P.H.E was saying, it's no wonder why the amount of people that think vaping is worse than smoking cigarettes is increasing year on year.
Because Joe Public, and he's not going out there and we are hobbyists. We will go out and read these articles. Joe Public doesn't. But you mentioned Ash, and the reason we mentioned Ash was because Deborah Arnott, the current chief exec of Ash, has got some fairly heavy links with the University of Bath. And that may come some way to explaining a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about with Ash over the last couple of weeks, with these very mixed messages that you are receiving. Now, and I'm going to quote you directly here, and I believe we did this last week. Regarding the P.H.E report, she's quoted as saying, rightly, since e-cigarettes emerged as an alternative to smoking, the government has sought to strike a balance between helping smokers to quit and protect children. As Ash research included in the report for the P.H.E shows, e-cigarette use among 11 to 18 years old has to date remained low. But on the downside, their potential as an adult quitting aid has not been fully realised. Right. So fair enough, she's saying, yeah, child vaping's not a thing, and there is more room for vaping as a quitting aid to grow. Yeah? But then she comes out in the next breath with a comment like this: as we strive to achieve a smoke-free nation by 2030, more needs to be done to support adult smokers, which is good, who could benefit from switching to do so, while eliminating loopholes in the law which could be used to promote products to teenagers. Well, you've just said there's not a teen problem. The loopholes are there, and you've said that child vaping is low. So are they loopholes or are they perceived loopholes?
Well, it's like we was mentioning when she was commenting about a young girl on a open market stall was given some promotion products, obviously related to vaping, and by all accounts she was underage. Now, receiving the products, if she's working on a vape shop, she shouldn't be working in vaping anyway, unless you're 18, surely. I would assume so, anyway. But it sounded a bit iffy to me. It really did. It sounded very iffy. 17. I mean,
well, it was on a market. She was over 16. There's nothing illegal about what happened.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No, but the thing is, they're taking it because it's a young person. But this is what they're still. I mean, sorry guys, I've been a little bit quiet, but I've been doing a shitload of reading here, trying to catch up on a load of stuff because there is that much of it, and they're still grasping at the teenage or the youth vaping epidemic, which does not bloody exist.
No, it doesn't.
And that's what they're grasping at, and this is why I believe that the W.H.O are trying to ban, obviously, the open systems because they're still going back to this. If Valley carry on in the States, the so-called epidemic with the dual users and all this, they carry on, you know, taking their duals to school and all this shit, and it didn't happen. It doesn't happen here.
No.
But they've got that. They're now set in their ways that, you know, this is what's happening. It's all fictitious as we know, but they're saying this is what's happening. We want this stopped.
Even on if you read the P.H.E. Document, it even states in that document, I think there was a 0.02% increase in youth vaping in the UK. 0.2% increase. But what they said below that, and if you read it, is quite profound, really. The people that are underage that are vaping now are regular vapors, not that's just tried it once. Regular vapors were originally smokers.
Yeah.
So they've come from being an underage smoker and they've converted to being an underage vapor.
Which is healthier.
And it's the point of vaping.
Dawn's just raised a lovely point here. Thanks, love. The P.H.E. report also says that as vaping technology has become more sophisticated and vapors more diverse, different ways of conducting research is needed. So we can't stick with the same old think of the children.
No, you can't.
You can't shove a mouse in a tube and say what's going to happen, you know. And I mentioned that not to be cruel to animals, but because there's been a large outcry from the animal testing brigade about the way that a lot of this vaping research is carried out.
Yeah, but the amount of mice they're going through.
Yeah. And they're literally just banging them into a tube and then using vacuum pumps to simulate vaping.
You see, and a lot of these tests that they're using old systems. And we were talking about ego pens and C4s that majority of people don't ever use anymore. So even the science that they're using to try and prove how bad e-cigarettes are, they're using old technology anyway.
I was trying to find that. That's one of the articles I was actually trying to find, and I can't bloody find it now.
Well, Peter had been... is it Peter or Petra?
Tommy!
People's ethical treatment of animals.
Yeah, Peter. They've been extremely vocal about this, saying, you know, that there is a number of ways that this could be tested, including human volunteers, you know. And it's incredibly flawed the way they're doing it. And to be honest, it's just downright bloody cruel.
It was proven... You're on about fake science. Can you remember when the formaldehyde thing came out? That was big. It was, you know, formaldehyde in vaping and that lot. And what it turned out to be, they was using a CE4 to the extremes of just burning the wick. It's got silica wick in it, and they was pumping it and pumping it and pumping it to way beyond levels that any human would ever use it. So there was virtually zero vapor e-liquid in the actual tank, but they were still pumping, and that's where they got the formaldehyde from.
Now, this again is from Planet of the Vapes, and it's the P.H.E report come back from the experts. And the World Vapors Association welcomed the Public Health England report, saying today's report from Public Health is great for vapors. We have further confirmation vaping is a way out of smoking. Those who continue to claim that vaping is a gateway to smoking should take time to read the science, listen to the science. It's something we've heard a lot lately with COVID, but hopefully those that continually criticise vaping will this time. Unfortunately, that seems to be a reference to the WHO. Because they are not. The European Commission's proposals for Europe's Beating Cancer Plan, which has recently been published, sets out steps to systematically curb vaping using the same techniques to use to curb tobacco use. And it's very similar. It's very much along the lines of the proposals from the WHO. And the WVA is basically saying that the report from Public Health England just blows that out of the water.
There is no such thing as vaping getting people to start smoking. There is no evidence whatsoever. It's an argument that leads to a dead end completely. And that's here in the UK and in America. Jenny, Uggles.
Me. And Michael Landell, the director of the WVA, quite clearly sort of has his sights set on the EU with this. But he said, so far the Commission has ignored the science on vaping in their Beating Cancer Plan. I hope today's report from P.H.E will wake up, be the wake-up call needed for them to drop the ideological approach in favour of one based on evidence. That, again, is very true for the WHO. Because they are not listening to the science.
Well, it's like what I said to you two the other day, and this is what really winds me up. I mean, absolutely grinds my gears. All year, all we've heard from government is that we're following the science. We're following the science. When it comes to COVID, that's all they're going to do, is follow science. When it comes to vaping, no, we ignore all that lot. We only got our agenda, and that's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it grinds my gears, it does.
Well, what annoys me is you've got a growing wealth of scientific research that shows the benefits. It's not 100% safe. We know it's not 100% safe. We are adults.
Getting out of bed ain't 100% safe.
Exactly. But when it comes to the WHO and the European Commission to that extent, it seems to be led by the agendas of individuals. And these individuals either have a lot of power, a lot of money, or a lot of followers. And that seems to be all you need. You know, we were digging into a lot more of the WHO funding, another name that popped up surprised us, the Bill Gates Foundation. Now, that was a surprise. I knew Bloomberg, but I didn't realise that Gates had been quite anti-vaping as well. But that, again, that was around the 2016, 2017 we found the figures for, wasn't it? And that was sort of gateway. There was still all the hoo-ha going off about Juul. Ivali was just on the horizon back then. So you could see how I would be very interesting to see how much the Bill Gates Foundation has actually put in recently. Because I get a feeling they've probably pulled back a bit. I don't get arguments with the whole vaping thing. I'm an advocate. But I think it's stupid they should be banning the one thing that works. I mean, how about banning tobacco from the get-go?
Oh, you can't ban tobacco.
No, because that's where the money is.
No, it's one of those... it's like flour and milk and all that lot. It's in the Constitution. You
In the
can't
staples.
you can't ban it.
My God.
Oh yeah, it's and that's not just in America. It's in quite a few countries as well. That one.
Yeah, where it's produced, tobacco's actually produced.
You
Or sorry,
can't
grown, should I say.
ban the actual tobacco. It's part of. I'm trying to think what it's called. It's like it's like fuel and things like that. You just can't ban it.
Grizz has just put a lovely one. Some people breathe fire and risk losing their eyebrows and nose hair. That should be banned or regulated. Good lad. Sorry, I know we've been a bit thin on chat tonight, and I do apologise. Stuart Valentine's just put a nice one. There's no one on the W.H.O board that's even a doctor.
Doesn't
That's
surprise me.
interesting. What else we got? We need more on trial and error. Vaping is suggested. In Italy and Greece, they've been using humans to test the safety of vaping.
You see, this is another thing. They keep on saying that about vaping, and that more needs to be tested and more needs to be tested. Vaping isn't new anymore.
No,
Tobacco's a cash crop. That's
the one.
It's a cash crop.
So it puts it in the same category as wheat, maize. It's ridiculous, isn't it? WHO, more like Thunderbirds, I hope not. Can you imagine the bun? Well, Mr. Tracy.
Hi, Mike. Fist bump.
Hiya, Mike. How you doing, mate? Oh, bless you.
It is scary where it's all leading, and it's like getting back to the media. You think?
Yeah.
They could have put a right report about the P.H.E, but no, they had to go down.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as I say again, sorry guys, I've been a bit quiet. As I say, I've been reading, getting a lot of research, and what I'll actually do is, I'll try and put a lot of these links into the group pages for you guys to read it if you haven't already seen it. It's getting out of hand, to be honest.
Well, it was a prime opportunity. Yeah, we've been in lockdown for a year. Everybody's feeling low. This was a story where it could have been Britain leads the way.
Yeah, but I was going to say that because I lost my train of thought. Why
Sorry,
did,
mate.
When it was announced the WHO were trying to ban vaping and then P.H.E jumped in, why was that statement not sent to the tabloids and for the tabloids to retract the statements of the articles that they already published? It wasn't. I don't think it was done.
No.
But
what usually happens though with things like that, Betty, is normally that 2 weeks' time there'll be an article on page 12 that's about an inch by an inch.
Yeah.
You see a lot. The media is very clever. We can't misjudge that at all, because most of it is that the big article is, I don't know, e-cigarette blows man's legs off. And then when you go to page 7, it tells you the proper story and tells you the whole details, that it was his error, and what actually happened. But most people will only read that big headline, and then that's it. They've already made their mind up.
Now, when I look at the Mirror story, and I've actually got the article in front of me, the one thing that immediately strikes me is, as I said before, it is said. You know, the wording, there is nothing factual in this. It's all, this is said. E-cigarettes are already banned in several countries around the world. In some countries they are.
But actually they're not. See, when you actually get into that and do the research of the so-called countries that they say they're banned in, they're not. They're more regulated than banned. I mean, the Philippines, they're not banned, they're regulated. But that's on the list of banned countries that have banned vaping. But then again, the reason they're banning them is to protect the youth. Balls.
It's like we've said, we are, and let's face it, we've said it on this show thousands of times. They've literally run out of excuses.
Yeah.
They can't do it with science, like they've tried all sorts with science. It's got antifreeze, formaldehyde, gives you wet lung, popcorn lung. We don't know what's in them, all that kind of stuff. They've run out of it. We've answered all them questions. We've had over 10 years worth of people vaping, and nothing. We haven't grown 3 legs or an extra eye or anything like that. So they haven't got no science to back them up. So what they do is use the personal, emotional side, and that's it. Oh, got to protect the children, and that's what they're down to.
Yeah, but what was the one I found out? I've actually found it. The one I found the other day when we were talking about it was the gut reactions and Planet of the Vapes, where the study was done in the US. It was actually University of California in San Diego. And as you mentioned earlier, Mark, using old gear, the researchers were using 6-year-old Kanger sub tanks with 6 milligram juice. And they were exposing mice to aerosols for 1 hour per day for a week. And this was because, even reading it, leaky gut syndrome, which means you shat.
Leaky gut syndrome. I like it.
Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I know some people are allergic to P.H.E and all the rest of it, but this is the research that they've done in California, San Diego. Leaky gut syndrome. They're trying their damnedest to find anything. I mean, if you were a little creature that size and you were exposed to that amount of P.H.E or whatever, yeah, you'd have leaky gut syndrome. Of course you would.
I mean, just take propylene glycol, P.H.E. There are hundreds and hundreds of people that have an allergic reaction to P.H.E.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's unsafe. It just means that they're allergic to it. And there's loads of people that don't have a very good tolerance with P.H.E. I know our Aidan, he ends up suffering with really bad guts if he has a high P.H.E vape. But that doesn't mean that P.H.E is bad.
It's just the body's tolerance to it.
Well, you can draw similarities between the COVID jabs and the reactions that people are having. It has killed some people. Some people it's given a sore arm. Some people are feeling bad. But that would be true of any, absolutely any. What's the word I'm looking for? Vaccine. Yeah.
But if you it doesn't matter what medication you take. If you look on your medication and it says side effects, that's all you have to do is look on the actual side effects. And if one person has suffered with something by taking these tablets or whatever, they've got to put it down. So that's why you've got this really long list of side effects. And half the time it's because either 1 or 2 people have actually suffered with that problem.
Now, Jenny's put a lovely one here. It happens all the time when better things come along. Planes come along, boats hated them. Cars came along, people with horses hated them. Vape comes along, Big Tobacco hates it. And to be honest, so does Big Pharma.
Yeah.
And that's where the political issue comes in.
Hello, C Black.
We are looking at large... Oh, dude. Good evening. P.H.E is used in the preparation of asthma inhalers all over the world. It is, Steve, and it was used as an antiviral medium because it's a desiccant.
And it's also, is it not also used for cleaning out the oxygen tubes in hospitals too?
Yeah.
In toothpaste as well. Or is that VG?
Possibly.
I know VG's in virtually everything.
Oh, it's in food.
I mean,
and
it's Dion 78 put it in as well. It gives you the shits, but it retracted it. It does. I mean, it's in higher concentrations. Yes, it does to certain people.
Now, there was a comment by Norse Vapor saying Sweden has actually gone so far as to outlaw snus. I've had a quick look.
Is it Norway that's really doing a lot of snus?
It was actually Sweden. Snus is banned in all EU countries except Sweden, which gained an exemption when joining the bloc in 1995. And they have had their smoking figures way down on the rest of Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that is down to snus use.
Because I remember back, when was it? 2018, 2019, when I was with the NNA, and they was really promoting the snus thing in Europe, because obviously they was trying to ban it, and honestly, even then the smoking rates just plummeted when they introduced snus. It was unbelievable.
I can still remember the Skull Bandits and and the bloody damage that they done.
But that wasn't snus, was it? That was literally tobacco in a pouch.
Yeah.
But even at that, still putting something like that in my mouth, it was a no for me, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah. I mean, we tried those at Expo, didn't we? And there was all sorts of fun and games with those.
Yeah, I mean, I tried it, and it actually burnt.
Yeah, but that's not snus, though, is it? That's
no, that wasn't snus.
That wasn't
definitely
snus.
Not
that was a e-liquid in a pouch. That was
wasn't pleasant.
I thought the idea behind it was good, but I think the concentration of pure nicotine next to your gum in liquid form isn't a good idea, because it burns.
Now, I'm looking here. Now, we said the smoking rates were low. This is a quote from the National Library of Medicine, and it's from a paper from 2000. Admittedly, it's an old one, but it's 2003. At the time of the publication of the paper, the very low smoking prevalence in Sweden has received considerable attention. It was the only country in Europe to reach the World Health Organization of a goal of less than 20% daily smoking prevalence amongst adults by the year 2000. Only 17% of Swedish men smoke.
Wow.
And a lot of that is attributed to snus. 19% of adult men and 1% of women are daily users, and the trend is increasing. Epidemiological studies have failed. I said the word, yes. Have failed to find evidence.
Say it again.
Go on, say it again.
Epidemiological.
Woo!
Have failed to find evidence that snus causes cancers, including oral cancer. Its adverse effects on the cardiovascular system are debated, but are certainly less than those of smoking. Again, parallels with vaping. People do like to quote the cardiovascular issues, it hardens the arteries, etc. So does chocolate. So does caffeine.
So does McDonald's.
Yeah. KFC, I don't see anybody calling for that, but you chow enough of that and your arteries are going to harden.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't hear people screaming and bawling about shutting McDonald's down and banning Big Macs and Burger Kings and God knows all what, do you?
See, the thing is, though, the same people that are griping about us vaping are the same people that are sat down with a glass of wine at night or having a cup of coffee in the morning.
Or knocking back £9 cocktails.
Seriously, I mean, they are the same people. And let's face it, we're doing the same thing. The reality of it, I mean, let's face it, no one has... how can you put it? Nicotine itself is no more serious than having a cup of coffee. It's a stimulant. Yes, we already know it's a stimulant, but so's blooming coffee.
And for those that would say nicotine's a poison, I would point out the fact that you knock back 12 cans of Monster and you're likely to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
But
the best thing about nicotine is, and it's a clever little drug when you think about it, it tells you when to stop.
Oh, yeah.
It tells you before you actually get poisoned by it, it actually tells you, don't give me any more. Because you end up with cold sweats, you end up going white, you end up throwing up. It already tells you before you've had too much. Stop.
What a nice poison. But again, and the other thing that you should take into consideration. You're not talking a lab chemical here. You're talking something that naturally exists within nature.
Yeah.
Tomatoes contain nicotine.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. Yeah.
It's actually in tea as well.
Believe it or not, tea has got more caffeine in it than coffee has.
Which is why we suck tea bags.
Seriously. But it's the ratio. Obviously, you don't have half the amount of caffeine in tea in a tea bag because of the amount. But actually, tea leaves has more caffeine in it than coffee beans does.
Interesting. Now, Bronco's just put a lovely one here. Side effects of vaping I have had as follows. 1. Sense of smell and taste have returned. 2. Got my wind back. 3. Feel like I'm 35 again. I just turned 60. Bronco, good on you, dude.
Fist bump for that one.
Definitely.
Yeah, massive respect for that one.
Absolute corker. Now, C Black's just put a lovely one in.
See, I'm just worried about his number 2 though. Got my win back, especially with the leaky gut syndrome.
Never trust a fart. C Black's just put a lovely one. The University of Kansas, and this surprises me, has just released an interesting study showing reduced carcinogen levels in smokers switching.
Yeah, that came out.
Yeah, I think it's too little, too late, isn't it?
Well,
see, the problem in America now is that the noise is trying to break through that noise of.
and there's a lot more noise.
There's a lot more noise now. There's just so much noise. So if you've got to be heard now, you've got no hope. You can bring all the science you want in America.
He's still
That's
going to
pro
get a sucker
vape,
one.
which is pro vaping and proves what vaping really is. But to fight through the noise of save the children and all that lot, you've got no hope now.
Yeah, you've got to get past that crowd of Karen and the soccer moms on Twitter, haven't you? Who are suddenly medical experts.
Yeah.
Octopus Energy, the U-Switch Supplier of the Year, and W.H.O.
Yeah, fuck off. Sorry.
Have you got a secret bird in there? At least it wasn't porn, mate.
I was actually looking up more what actually has natural occurring nicotine in it to see if there was any more on the list.
There's loads.
Yeah, there's loads. There is loads.
So, I think we need to talk about him because we've talked about the soccer moms and we've talked about the WHO. Does anybody else find it really disturbing that Bloomberg can take a personal agenda and stamp it so far over other countries?
I think it's amazing, to be honest with you, but it just proves that money talks.
Frank's just said Karen and the Soccer Moms, great band name. Oh, bless you. We'll copyright that one. It is amazing. But where does it stop being philanthropy and where does it start being building an empire?
1984, isn't it?
It's crazy. Well, I mean, it all well put it. You know, you put the TV screens up and the public are too busy watching the TV screens to realise what's going off. Bloomberg has no clout whatsoever. He only thinks he does because he's a minted twat. Bunny, that's true, but unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that he's funding, there's some very strict sort of, you shall do this, you shall do that if you want to get the cash. And I would point to the University of Bath as a prime example of that.
I mean, $160 million programmed to end the youth e-cigarette epidemic speaks for its bloody self, doesn't it?
But on the flip side of that, he's trying to bring out his own vape pen.
Yeah, that had me chuckling. And again, it was interesting that one of the people that was investing in that was the Gates. So,
Everybody wants. Let's face it. It's very much like what Jenny said.
yeah, nobody likes the new thing.
But thing is, though, it's not the new thing anymore.
No.
It really
Well,
is. I mean, blooming heck. I wouldn't say I was one of the first vapors, but I mean, I've been vaping for 10 years.
Well, yeah. But the thing is it really what what was considered vaping at the start? Because it's gone from a very small hobbyist-led movement to this huge multinational corporate-led.
It's a money making thing because let's face it, he wants his. So he's trying to get rid of the competition.
My side effect is I have to time my vape mail to arrive when my wife is at work. Well done, Craig. The whole
Phil Morris. I got that email as well and just delete.
Bunny's just got. Oh, now I get it. He wants to make money off it. Gotcha. Oh yes.
See, we here in the UK we are very. I'm not going to say lucky. I'm going to say fortunate, and the fortunate and the saving grace for us is that we've got an NHS.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think if we didn't have the NHS and we paid for medical care like they do in America, I think things would be slightly bit different.
Oh,
Right, what's up with Nightbot?
I don't know.
What's up, Mike?
I'm sure I read something the other day, but there was a US medical insurance company bought so many GP practices in London.
Really?
It has been on the cards for a long time. The trade deal had certain clauses with the states, and if in effect opened up the UK health market to American companies. It got buried under a lot of Brexit stuff, but it was reported on for a couple of weeks.
No,
Mike, that would not be Nightbot. I've got nothing on my settings on Nightbot to delete any comments. That could be actually Google.
NHS GP practice operator with 500,000 patients passes into hands of US health insurer.
See, the worry about that one is that the actual people that go to that practice, are they going to be ending up with certain medical like tablets and things like that? Will there be doctors being so like, instead of having this brand of whatever, you're going to have our brand?
Yeah. You're not going to get a generic need to stick to yours.
That happens anyway.
Yeah, I know it does happen anyway, because what me being a diabetic, many a time the board of governors at our local GP all of a sudden decide to have a review and swap your medication and try and get you onto a cheaper version of said medication.
It happened with a lot of asthmatics who went from the Ventolin inhalers, the blue relievers, to the smaller salbutamol inhalers, which are a generic brand, because of cost. And a lot of practices chose to go down that route. There was a large backlash from people who suffered asthma because the salbutamol doesn't always work for everybody. And people with early stage COPD like myself, we ended up having to go onto the powder inhalers because the Ventolin was the only wet one that seemed to offer any relief.
Yeah.
The NHS regulates the use of many drugs, and most of the FDA-approved drugs are not approved in the UK. That's very true, but unfortunately, there is a lot. You find a lot of the American pharmaceuticals have European manufacturers.
Yeah,
and they are. Dawn's just said, as a nurse, it happens with all medications. It does.
Yeah, of course. I mean, let's face it. You've got to understand that the NHS is on a budget. And each practitioner has a budget.
Oh, yeah.
So you can understand why it's done. I mean, totally.
Now, the worrying thing is when you link it through. So the NHS has a very large smoking cessation budget, and it does. You know, when your doctor says, "Here, have a box of patches," you know, that is a big chunk out of his budget, because as soon as you mention NHS, the cost of whatever you're buying goes up.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you that for a fact. The NHS supply chain is ridiculously pricey.
There was a big spate, especially on Facebook about 2-3 years ago, about paracetamols, people getting paracetamols on prescription.
Yeah.
And basically, you can get a packet of paracetamols for 25p from Tesco's.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was cheaper for you and for your practitioner, for you to just go and buy the 25p paracetamols than it was for you to get off on prescription.
Because they were getting charged somewhere in the region of 4 times as much.
Yeah.
So the 25p box to you from Tesco's with its generic branding, packaging, you stick it in a small plastic bottle and they're going to charge you £1.
Yeah.
You start multiplying that up and it soon, you know.
It was it was just another way how to help the NHS.
Well, it was the same with Calpol. It's cheaper to buy Calpol from the supermarkets than it is for the doctor to prescribe it.
It's the same with Gaviscon as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those of us that own animals, you know, my old boy, he's getting on now, he's 15. They've got him on gabapentin, but they don't do it for dogs. There's not a generic vet. So it's human gabapentin he's on.
Yeah, the vets use it. It's all animal, so human drugs that they use on animals. Apart from ketamine.
And then it's the human animals using that. I said, by God, we've touched some bases tonight. Anybody we haven't upset. So, I mean, to round it up, because we've just gone half past. So, I think coming out of this, ironically, all the British press have done is added weight to the argument about negativity.
Well, it just proves what the P.H.E was saying about this negativity that's coming out from the media. I mean, when P.H.E are stating that fact, I think they need reining in. I really do. I mean, it's almost like the media have just got an agenda as well for this anti-vaping, and I can't understand why.
Well, in the States, I can, because again, the same guy who's throwing money at the Philippines and all the rest of it owns a huge chunk of the media over there. You know, he's the Murdoch of the States, isn't he? You know, if Bloomberg owns it, then if you don't do what he says, he pulls your story, and that's been proven. That's not tinfoil. You know, there's people come forward and made it very clear about the restrictions placed if you want to get information onto a Bloomberg channel. You know,
I think if you're gonna round things up, me personally, you've got to keep your eye on the ball. We can't come complacent. Oh, we're safe. We're in the UK. Everyone loves vaping. Da-di-da-di-da-di. It just proves that, obviously, I mean, especially on this channel, we're not heavily vape in a vape show, but obviously when the stuff comes out, it just proves that we can't be complacent. There are things going off in the background that you've still got to keep your eye on. You've still got to be proactive. Yeah,
which kind of leads on to because I think you've already linked the page anyway, Mark. It's We Vape UK, because the government has launched a consultation into vaping and tobacco products. Click that. I mean, I'll share it into the group. Guys, go and have a look at it. Add your comments to it, and let's see where it takes us. hopefully it takes us, down a better route than what's being seen on the media at the moment, and we come out of it at the other side with a big grin on our faces. So yeah, so I'll stick that link into the group in a bit.
Now I'll just pop it into chat because it is a government site. The consultation now. It's hello. Are you going to let me do it? Oh, that's interesting.
What's that?
It's actually 74 characters over the 200 character limit, so we're going to have to put it into Facebook. I have already put it into the group, I think. The consultation on the tobacco and related products regulation. It looks quite daunting, and there's a string of questions, and there doesn't appear to be any way to answer it. What you find is when you get to the bottom of the actual article, there's a very small link that says respond online. Click that. That will enable you to answer the questions and to send off your opinions on vaping. So it takes 5-10 minutes out of your day.
Yeah, I've stuck it into the SoulOhm crew and stuck it into the Ohm Service live.
Excellent. Thanks,
And another
mate.
thing, just keep an eye on the NNA as well.
Yeah, but I mean, what we'll do from this point onward, if we actually see anything, we will post into the groups, guys. And please, if you guys see anything out there that obviously we miss, please stick it into the group, let other people see it. And again, it's one of these things we could look at it in a few months' time, and we can go back to it and and discuss it again and just see how things are progressing. It's just about, as the guy said, let's not be complacent about it. It's just this is going to affect us all. So yeah, just
Mama has spoken. Can you stick it in her group too?
Group of what?
Her Facebook group, young man.
I'm glad you said book at the end of that.
I thought it was a euphemism for something.
I know, I did.
Yes, I want to promise tonight.
No. Now, people don't
Bobby,
panic.
stick it in my group, please.
This is not us becoming, Frank Zappa or anything, or what's his face, All Citizen Smith. This is something that we do need to be keeping an eye on.
We do.
Europe tried it. They tried to have vaping classed as a medical device, which would have had all sorts of impact. And the NNA did a cracking job.
I mean, back in the day, the originally was, like I said before we went live, originally they wanted a closed pod system or a pod system-esque. It was closed battery and it was a closed actual filling. It had to be anti-leak back in the day. So it's... I worry about myself, Bill, many a day.
Jules says she's too tired for you to be on. I promise she's going straight to bed after the show. Good girl. You keep the naughty man in his place.
Yeah, I must admit, she's absolutely knackered. She's still up feeding the pup during the night and stuff. And then fucking Leah gave us the fright of her life tonight, just before we came live. The dog disappeared out the bloody back garden. She was following the foxes out, so...
Well, seeing as we've been doom and gloom all evening, can we just have a little puppy update? Just a bit of good news?
Yeah, she's doing absolutely fantastic. She's doubled her weight in just under 2 weeks. For a lot of you out there that maybe do not know, we nearly lost Ray, our little female pup, a couple of weeks ago. She took a bad respiratory infection, and we thought we were going to lose her. But she's been on penicillin for over 2 weeks. She's still got a week to go. She's doing absolutely great. She's putting weight on. She's getting bigger. She's now running about the living room, peeing and pooing everywhere, and yeah, so she's on the mend. And I've got a funny feeling Jules is just bringing her up the stairs right now.
Oh, bless.
Also, before we do go, and before we floof You've got to show them.
Yeah, hold on. Yes, she's coming. Oh God, she's bought both of them.
So we can see the difference in size
Right.
because Ray's was. It should be bigger,
Blimey.
but Ray's really tiny still compared to Monty.
That's Ray. That's Monty. I mean, there is a fair difference in size, but yeah, I mean, she's getting there, isn't she?
Oh, bless her.
Oh,
Oh,
He's not impressed. Look.
I've just woke you up.
oh bless.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
yeah, vape pups are coming along. Thank goodness. That was a bit of a worry. Yeah, it's yeah. I've had a few messages from a couple of people. Obviously, W.H.O, the UK vape show is coming on right after us. I've had a few people messaging me about the size of Vic's stand because the photographs do not do this thing justice. It is friggin' massive.
Boom, boom, boom. So how many does it hold?
68, I think it is. I can't remember. That's the size of this damn thing.
it's bigger than Vic.
Oh yeah, so it's yeah, it's pretty damn large.
Hold on. That's not a vape stand, is it? That's a step so he can see over the top of the bar.
Yeah. That's so they can look out the window and wave at people walking by.
Scared the seagulls.
Yeah, it is pretty damn big.
Mr. Mullen, I apologise. I am in so much trouble. Speaking of which, shall we floof the big man?
Yes, we shall floof the tasty
Floof the
clean.
big man. So you got Vic, Aidan, and Adam. Give him a floof.
I think I got Adam this week.
Who's ought to take all the test?
That was a big handful. Right. Stop it. Is that Vic's new bed? Oh, no need. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We know it's been a heavy one tonight, but it's been so much fun. You guys always make it a giggling chat. Bless you. So, Stevie,
Yeah, guys, again, thanks for joining us on this show that took more of a serious note. And I do apologise that I was a little bit quiet, but I was doing a lot more research and stuff. And I will post it up into the group and stuff like that. Join us again next week where things should be a little bit lighter. A little bit more fun next week, I would think. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So, yeah. So, guys, as I say, thanks for joining us. Spanners, thanks for looking after us. And Steve and Mark, love you guys to bits. And yeah, let's do it all again, same time, same place.
yeah, and hopefully more puppies next week.
We'll have to have a weekly puppy update.
Yeah. Oh, see Black 218's in Glasgow, the same as myself.
Oh, good man.
See?
Oh.
Yeah, there's more than one vapor in Glasgow.
Oh, bless. Mark, you got anything coming up this week, or?
Bit personal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we've been on about the puppies of the week.
Bit personal. I'm definitely not showing you my puppies.
You know, fun.
Get your wobbly nuts out.
All right then.
You can't beat a mouthful of Nobby's nuts.
He's got them in the testy koozie.
I have. Why do you think I've had such a smile on my face all night?
You got yourself a giblet bath?
Oh, bless you.
Oh, no problem. So, anything coming up review-wise, or?
I've got plenty of things coming up for review, yeah. You'll have to wait and see. I've got the Oxford. I'm going to be doing the Oxford RBA deck tomorrow, so that's coming up. I've got the updated version of the Groose coming up.
Oh.
I've also got some disposable pods from Geek Vape as well. You can tell that China's finished with the holidays now because all of a sudden I've started actually getting emails. So February is normally my quiet month, like most reviewers. So I've just been catching up and relaxing and enjoying myself, to be honest with you.
And now the where my review emails start.
Yeah, it's when. Yeah. Where's my review?
Mr. Mark, you've had our device for at least a day.
At least.
When's the review coming out?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just testing the UB light as well from Lost Faith. Quite nice that.
Oh, nice.
Monkey on car, fuck off.
I've not tried the rule breaker, Simon, so I don't know. You'll have to bring it in and let me have a look.
Oh, nice. Oh, can't get it to fire. Interesting. Right.
Check the terminals.
Yeah.
Check your terminals.
Oh, bless you.
That's what I'd go for straight away.
Yeah, check your terminals. Because I know sometimes you need to pull them down a wee bit just to make sure that they're making full contact. Because the hog was the same.
Yeah.
If your terminal's a little bit on the dodgy side, then it wouldn't fire.
No, right.
Oh, yeah. Also, you've got to make sure it's really clean as well.
Yeah.
Even the button.
Take it apart. Actually, take it apart, clean it all. Just check. Just make sure your terminals are still where they should be. There's nothing broke. There's nothing came loose. Clean it, put it back together again, and see what happens.
No worries. Well, guys, thank you so much for those lovely comments at the bottom. That's a corker. Cheers, Bill.
Thank you.
Been a really good show tonight. Important stuff to talk about. Yeah, we thought so. Thanks for the shows, gents. Stay safe, everyone. Craig, same to you, mate.
Right, but we'll just be talking about shit next week, so you're all right.
Yeah. Back to waffling next week. No worries.
There's cardboard in the switch on a rule breaker if it's new. That's from Mick.
Yeah. Could say Mick's actually probably the best person to talk about it because he's got one.
Trying to find a rebuildable head for the Oxford Velocity. Any ideas? Watch Mark's channel tomorrow.
Yeah, get the RBA deck for it because it's the flavour of it is absolutely fantastic because that's what's in there and it's never in my hand.
That will be coming up for review tomorrow.
Yeah, we've already done it. Check yours.
I can tell you what, it's a cracking vape.
Yeah.
Not to spoil anything because he's going to go into far more detail, but
And big huggles to Buddy.
huge huggles to Bunny. We need more live huggles. I miss Bunny. It's not the same.
God. Don't start me on Expo. Please don't. Do.
You know something? I just think what we need to do is, I mean, I know we're getting to the need to get the hell off here. I think we should just hire a big farmer's field and just pitch a shitload of tents up and just get pissed. Fuck Expo. Because God knows when it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, it's like I turned around and said the other day, if we could do it like, what was it called now? It was all outside and they had the market stalls. At Vape Fest.
Vape Fest, yeah. I
think that's the way forward.
I'll tell you what, if you're setting up one of those, Steve, I'm interested. Fuck Expo. Yeah, I'll have some of that. Would you like to try a flavour, sir?
And on that note...
Sorry.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to say goodbyes. Just want to give Betty and Putty a big shout and say thank you very much for a very, very informative show. Guys in chat, thank you so much as well. I know it has been a bit serious, but these things need to be talked about, so big shout out to you guys as well. Please don't forget to go and support me little brother. He's doing his 11,000 steps for prostate cancer. If you could pop over to, I think it's Urban LBV, that's his channel that he's doing the vlogs each day. If you go on there, it's been running in chat as well. But if you go over there, it shows you where you can help them and support them that way. So please go and check my little brother out. Because poor lad, he is suffering. If you watch the video today's video, he is suffering, poor lad. Even his bum hurts. Now, this bit I don't understand. Why does his bum hurt?
Chub rub.
Oh, no, he says his actual bum hurts.
Yeah, he didn't run fast enough.
That's all I'm saying.
Was he
So-
at a party? Was he at a party by any chance?
Was he partying?
No, was he at a party?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I was at one of the parties.
For all the Deadpool fans, it is International Women's Day coming up, so
That's why his bum might be hurting.
exactly.
As Bill's playing Expo weekends at the Vaping Misfits 12-hour charity stream, and I think that's possibly the stream where I lose both eyebrows.
Oh God!
I done it again, didn't I? I'll do it. Idiot. Anywho,
Anyhow, are we getting off, guys?
We better head.
We better had to let these people go and be able to nip and get a drink before the guys come on.
Yeah, go and join Vic, Little Bro, and Adam.
And their special guest.
Grizzly.
Grizzly, yes. Grizzly.
Is Grizz on? Oh, definitely get across if Grizz is
Yeah,
on.
get over there because when Sean's on, that's guaranteed to be an absolute damn giggle.
It is.
So, guys, yeah, we're getting out of here and
Right then, I'm going to say bye.
next week.
Bye.
Bye!
Outro.
Let's get the fuck out of here. I want to know why Aiden's bum's so.
Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde gave him a sore bum.
Does this smell of formaldehyde?